Hello, my name is Hamid Mahmood.
And my name is Mahum Hashmi, and today we will be talking about the T-Mobile breach of 2021. Now I will discuss the background. What happened? Well, in August 2021, about 40 to 50 million T-Mobile users, including both current and former users, had their private information leaked. The breach involved unauthorized access to T-Mobile systems, including information such as government names, social security numbers, driver license information, birth dates, T-Mobile account pins, and more. A T-Mobile account pin leaves you access with a person's financial information, their home address, etc. So by gaining all of this information, the hacker is able to do much more damage to each individual involved. T-Mobile responded immediately by launching an investigation, notifying affected and new customers, and offering identity theft protection services. They also enhanced their security measures to limit similar accidents in the future. The breach highlighted the ongoing challenges companies face in safeguarding customer data against cybersecurity threats. But how exactly did this happen? During the T-Mobile investigation, not much was disclosed to the public other than an announcement stating someone entered the system with unauthorized access. It was later revealed that an individual with the name John Binns, who was an American living in Turkey at the time, hacked into the system. He posed as an employee and snuck into T-Mobile's internal system by manipulating their application programming interface. Based on the CIA triad we learned in class, John Binns was affecting the company's confidentiality as he was an unauthorized individual getting access into their system and retrieved customer information. He also affected their website's integrity as he manipulated and altered T-Mobile's data. Availability might also have been applicable if users were unable to access the T-Mobile system during the breach. Ben stated that the T-Mobile security is awful and it was very easy to hack into, further displaying the idea that T-Mobile needs to implement better security measures in the future to prevent this. Of course, with any cyber attack, the organization will be impacted in some way. After T-Mobile's breach in 2021, they have to deal with financial consequences. Since some users had their financial data compromised, T-Mobile granted all affected users reimbursement of $25 in the form of cash payment. As for California residents, since they have stronger protection laws such as the California Consumer and Privacy Act, they were granted about $100. Additionally, T-Mobile was sued and had to pay $350 million in settlement to resolve the claims made against them. Additionally, the company's reputation is at stake as people will start to question whether their information is safe with T-Mobile. Although we do not know the number of people who chose to leave T-Mobile and sign up for another carrier service, we do know some of the negative feedback T-Mobile received after the breach. For example, Chester Wisniewski, a chief technical officer at Sophos, stated that considering the amount of breaches T-Mobile has had, they haven't been able to shore up their leaky ship, meaning at this point they should have solved the issue of their high number of breaches or at least decreased the number of them. This breach also led to people worrying whether or not their information is safe at T-Mobile. Another impact is that T-Mobile needed to implement better security measures. After the breach happened, T-Mobile immediately sent out an announcement to affected individuals with reassurance and how they are going to overcome this. They offered 2 years of McAfee's ID theft protection service for free to those who felt impacted by the attack, and according to Dan Avery at CNET, T-Mobile invested $150 million in strengthening their data security. They also had to eventually change their security measures to make them stronger than before. Now I will be discussing what T-Mobile could have done differently in this situation. For one, they keep having some sort of breach, whether it be large or small. There was 2 different breaches in 2023, and the 2023 was the 9th data breach T-Mobile has had or publicly mentioned since 2018. That being said, they need to implement software updates which patch up any bugs or gaps from the previous version. They need to continuously monitor their systems to ensure they do not have any weaknesses or outlets for an attacker to attack. They can limit them as much as possible, but of course, it is impossible to get rid of the risk of a breach by 100%. So if and when a breach happens, they need to make sure they have protocols and procedures in place so that they can react as effectively and efficiently as possible. Also, they need to be more transparent with their customers, meaning when a breach happens, instead of saying a vague announcement like "we will have better security," they need to actually go with their word to prevent future breaches. In other words, their actions need to speak for their words. Lastly, they need to strengthen their access controls to limit who can enter the system. Only those who need access for their job roles should be allowed to use specific data. Otherwise, it should be completely off limits and restricted to those who do not need it or are unauthorized individuals.
T-Mobile's recent history with data breaches shows a concerning picture of cybersecurity challenges faced by modern businesses. Since 2021, T-Mobile has experienced a total of 4 breaches, with all 4 happening in 2023 alone. Interestingly, 2022 saw no reported breaches, highlighting the unpredictable nature of these incidents. Cybersecurity is a reactionary space where, when a risk assessment is done, what the experts seem to believe are the biggest vulnerabilities might not always be the ones that are exploited. The continuous evolution of cyber threats make it difficult to predict breaches accurately. Moreover, the reactive nature of cybersecurity measures poses challenges, as actions are often taken after a breach is discovered rather than preemptively implemented. These breaches not only compromised customer information, but also had repercussions on T-Mobile's reputation and financial standing. When the January 2023 breach happened, T-Mobile's stock dropped from $138 down to $126, which is an 8.9% decrease in market value. Insider threats and human errors represent significant challenges in cybersecurity due to their complexity and the difficulties associated with prevention. Despite organizations implementing robust security measures like phishing trainings and seminars, humans are prone to make mistakes and click on an attachment by accident. Insider threats refer to activities or security breaches initiated by individuals within an organization. These threats can be intentional or unintentional and may include actions like data theft or sabotage. Now I will be discussing what to do in this situation. First, what we would do differently in the realm of cybersecurity where data breaches and unauthorized access pose significant threats. Organizations must adopt robust measures to protect sensitive information. One such measure is the implementation of air gaps, which create a physical or logical separation between systems or networks to minimize the risk of data breaches. This prevents malicious code or individuals from accessing production data and logic. This provides 2 benefits. Firstly, the test databases and code can use unconventional techniques and ideas that might or might not work. Secondly, it provides a layer of security. If someone was to use an API that got hacked, the air gap will prevent the malicious individual from progressing further into the company. If T-Mobile did a comprehensive risk assessment, they would see that an air gap did not exist and they could remedy it. What to do next? Better security practices need to be implemented and followed by all employees at T-Mobile. More cybersecurity professionals need to be hired who have experience so that they can see these vulnerabilities and fix them. T-Mobile has only offered the McAfee's ID protection service for 2 years, but then continued to have data breaches after that, so they need to either offer this service for longer or implement other measures to ensure these data breaches do not happen as often as they currently do. Lastly, they need to make sure only authorized individuals have access to specific systems and unauthorized individuals are out. The T-Mobile breach of 2021 is relatable to a few different topics we have discussed in class. As Mahum mentioned earlier, it is related to the CIA triad, as each of the components, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Other topics are risk management, threat landscape, the actual cybersecurity focus, and change management. First, risk management. T-Mobile's breach relates to risk management because T-Mobile needs to identify where their gaps and weaknesses are within the system, otherwise known as vulnerabilities. By identifying them, they can take steps to address them and fill those gaps. They need to be proactive and reactive, meaning that they need reactive solutions whenever a breach occurs, but at the same time, they can minimize the breaches occurring by being proactive. The next topic is threat landscape. They need to identify where their threats exist and what trends are happening within these threats. Some key questions to ask is why the attacks are happening, where they are happening, and what they are targeting, and how we can limit them. They also need to focus on cybersecurity by emphasizing it takes everyone to be responsible for the organization's security. They need to think about ways they can recover after an attack has happened, how they can keep the bad guys out, and how they can implement proactive measures within their internal system. Lastly, change management is relatable to the breach since new security measures were implemented. It is important that each team member is aware of new protocols and how they can use these new procedures to keep their systems safe. Even addressing the change of adding two-factor authentication and other security pins in customer accounts would require the need for announcements and reassurance.
And here are our references.